Hello, it's Chris from Optinet speaking, and this time we're going to look at how you can manage your stock in Flex. This is for the front end of Flex, so how we can add and update new and existing stock items, but do make sure you check out my other video which covers all of the setup connotations, so for example how to add and change brands and suppliers, and especially how formulae and stock movement can work as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into Flex and click onto the stock section. Here at the moment we've just got my Flex default. This is how Flex ships with all the basic bits and pieces, plus there's also this frame here RB123, which was an example frame which I added just before I started the video. So to add a stock item in Flex, what we need to do is choose new, and then we've got new frame, sundry, contact lens package or solution. All of these, broadly speaking, are the same. The only slight difference with a frame is it's going to ask us for things like a type and a gender, which obviously aren't relevant for the other options in that list. So I'm going to click onto new frame, and it's brought up for us a stock record card. Description is the first thing that we see. Now, generally what I'm going to enter is something like this. So RB456, or I might call it, for example, Ray-Ban RB456. This is what's going to appear on the receipt for the patient and how the frame will be known throughout the system. Now, what some people might do is just purely put Ray-Ban and might put the model detail in here. Cynically, maybe they don't want the patient to see all the details on their receipt because then they could go and Google it. Of course, they could get the details off of the arm of the frame, but it's easy when you're sat on the bus on the way home looking at the receipt, isn't it? You can completely mask that in the setup, so it would just say spectacles. But I do recommend putting in detail like this because it just gives us much better content to go on through the rest of the journey in Flex. When we add on a supplier or a brand, it ships with our default here, but what we can do is just start typing in the name and it's gone straight to it in the list. And indeed with brands I could go through and do the same if I wanted to. I'll show you in my other video how you can update those. You can check all that out through the portal as well. The more detail we put on, the better. Sales group frame for frames automatically, and obviously it has the relevant VAT connotation, but you can just see what we have in there. It might be different on your copy of Flex depending on your own VAT setup, which is something you could check with your accountant or your Flex expert in practice. So model I entered a moment ago, and then type. Broadly speaking, we've got the 4 different types we can choose. Again, customizable in the setup, just like any drop down, and so the type and gender we can choose there as well. Sunglasses and sun clip, these ones are clever. What these do is if I was to tick sunglasses, if we sold this directly through the till in Flex, it's going to apportion full VAT. However, if we tick the sunglasses and it goes to the dispensing module, Flex will then realise there's ophthalmic lenses being used and it would do the relevant VAT apportionment to it. So the relevant exemption, I should say. So if I tick sunglasses, that's what that would do. Over towards this top right hand pane now, we've got cost and book price. Cost, that's what it literally costs you as a practice, and book price is what it, let me say, should cost you as a practice. So if a rep walks in and says, right, well, it's 20% off all of these, then the book price could be £10 and the cost price would be 8 on that example. But if I just put in 10, we'll keep this simple. Enter, it's put the book price as the same straight away. Most practices, if they're using formulae, use the cost price to generate those, but you can use the book price, and that's why we've got both of those in there. With retail price, I could just freehand my own one in if I want to, that's absolutely fine. However, you can also use formulae if you wish. I'll show you in my other video how all of these can be set up, but I've just kept these nice and simple. So cost times 2. That's going to come out at £20. Note, we can't actually change the retail price now we put a formula on. If you do want to though, no problem. Some people just use it to keep themselves on track really. Turn it off again and you can edit it if you want to. We can also use something called formula steps. I've just given it the name steps so I know what I'm doing, as it were. And it's worked out that if a frame costs you up to £10, it should cost the patient £50. More details about that in my other video. Reorder quantity, just by hovering over, the little bubble tells us there, a reorder quantity of 0 means the item will not be automatically added to the order list. Not too useful for frames in my opinion, but really good for sundries and solutions. So boxes of lemons wipes, when you're down to your last 3, it will automatically get added onto your shopping list in Flex. Shelf item, if it's a physical item we can hold, then it's a shelf item. A frame is a shelf item, a pen is a shelf item, but an OCT would not be. And display, that's if we use the word display, you might call it consignment or sale and return. That would just show that we don't actually own it. So the example I give here, cynically, if the practice burnt down tomorrow, it's not actually something on your insurance claim. I need to get a better example, don't I, for that? Right, barcode. Flex has given it the next incremental barcode available, which is number 12. You can put your own barcode in here. Size, I'm just typing literally the numbers now. It's putting a little X in between for me, so we can put on the size of the frame and the colour, and it might be red, it might be C4, it might be both. That's a free text box, and I can put in whatever details I want to there. I'm going to leave voucher blank. It's more something that Optinet use. So, for example, when we set up the quote stock item unquote as for NHS test, it would then link to the voucher, but we'll leave that blank for now. Do drop us a message through the portal if you want to know more about it. Really important button is add SKU. That stands for stock keeping unit, and that's going to add it onto the system. We can put on a delivery reference if we want to. I'm going to click through that now, but it's asking how many we're adding. It's assuming one at the branch we're logged into. I've only got the one branch on my system, so it's going to add one. Tell you what, let's just change that to show how it works. We're going to add 3 of these on. Green tick for confirm. And all of this detail now has been entered, and the movement history of the SKU, stock keeping unit, has been added. So it's been added on by myself, and it's got today's date and time. Broadly speaking, that is how we'd add a stock item on Flex. Let's look now, though, at how we can also modify that stock item. So I'm going to save it, and I can find it in my list by putting in any of these filters here. I can clear all the filters up there, but here's my item. Actually, I've realised that it's red C5. Whatever the detail might be, you can go back in and change any of the detail that you need just here. And if we right click, there's a really useful menu which appears just here in Flex. Firstly, create new from. So if you've now got this same model, okay, so it's the Ray-Ban RB456 again, but it's a different size and or colour, we can choose create new from. Keep your eye on this top right hand pane for me. When I choose create new from, what it's done is it's generated everything the same again. It's remembered all the price. It's given it the next incremental barcode available. It was 12, the last one if you remember. This one's 13. And we could just put in the differences here that we need to. And again, we can go through, add it onto the system, and it's going to actually pair these up for us, and we can see the different frames on the system. When you dispense a frame that goes to the till, or indeed selling it through the till directly, not just a frame but any item, then it's going to automatically take it out of stock by 1. But if you need to, you can manually adjust the quantity here. So if you've had a delivery in from the supplier, or you want to manually change it, then you can do. You're going to write it off. All of these options are in here as well. Quite a nice feature as well, custom reason. So if it's not just for one of those, you can actually choose your own reasons in the setup and put in why it's going in or out of stock. If you wanted to change a barcode for whatever reason, we could also change the barcode there, and it will ask us what it should be. It will check it's available, and you can change it. I mentioned the reorder list fleetingly, which is good for sundries and solutions. If you want to manually add an item on, we've got add to reorder list there. And also printing a zebra label. So the little things, about the size of your little finger, that wrap around the frame with generally the price, a quick description, a barcode on, you can print a zebra label out through there. So if I save that now, we can see here my frame and all the information on the system. Quick mention, by the way, if we want to remove an item, if I archive it, then that will no longer appear on my active stock list. Okay, a couple of other bits and pieces we can look at. Stock order list. I mentioned any items that have reached the quantity of being ready to reorder will appear in this list, and any you've added yourself, we can add items in through there. And there's also a really good feature called View Items Sold Recently, and what that will do is show all the items sold within a period, and it's good to be able to choose a specific supplier or brand. So if you've got the Stepper rep coming in, says, let's see what you've done in the last 3 months, we could quickly dial up and say, I want to find everything from Stepper, and go through and get those lists. And with stock taking, this is not just the ability to do your paper tally sheets, but to use our app or Flex to do your stock takes. There is a separate video on the portal all around that as well. So, good luck in pricing up all your stock. We've looked at how we can add and update new and existing items. Do check out my setup video, which has got a few simple bits and pieces like how to add a new brand and supplier, but also it will talk to you about how to use the formula in Flex. As always, any questions, drop us a ticket through the portal flexhelp.co.uk, and the very best of luck with stock in Flex.